Universal's Epic Universe has now been revealed. We now know the different worlds that will be contained within Epic Universe. We're going to talk about that today and how Disney has lost its bet from a decade ago and is only on a downward trajectory to absolutely get wrecked by Epic Universe in 2025. Let's get into it on The Legal Mindset. Historically, Disney has been the silverback gorilla of theme parks in the United States, particularly their Disney World theme parks. They've been at the top levels of all theme park attendance worldwide, dominating attendance numbers. And after decades, this led to a certain level of hubris on the part of Disney. Now let's wind back the clock to 2013 and listen in to the Imagineers when they are asked, well, do you feel Universal is a threat? Do you think Universal is coming for you? And let's hear what they had to say in 2013.
So Imagineering has led a great legacy, and it's the best at what they do. But for the first time in a long time, Universal Creative is getting noticed. How do you guys intend to fight back?
Universal with that Harry Potter thing.
The funny thing about these guys laughing, the Imagineers giggling here, is it's actually a salty giggle. It's sour grapes because Disney wanted Harry Potter, but they weren't given Harry Potter because they wanted an insane level of creative control over what they put in the parks, akin to, well, what they've done with everything else in their parks and Star Wars. And good thing we did not get that, or else we would have some weird offshoot characters rather than the main story park, which we have in Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure that goes into Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade. But that's one thing you can see here, that they're kind of playing it off, but they know that deep down that was the biggest single impact to their parks in Central Florida in terms of shifting attendance from Disney World to Universal. But let's continue to listen in.
I feel very strongly that there's so much more to what makes a Disney park, a resort, so great. It's the service, it's the cast. We have so many great stories. Star Wars changed my life. I'm so glad we have this now. We have these new stories coming out. We're beginning to figure out Marvel and how we can bring that in. Avatar is going to be phenomenal, and all the new feature animation and Disney products, more pirate movies. So it's, to me, I just feel like bring it on. Bring it on, we're ready, and no one can touch us.
No one can touch us. Those were the final words there of the Imagineers. And oh boy, if only they knew in 2013 that those world-class cast members would end up repelling folks as they slapped dresses on dudes. The hotels would end up, well, falling by the wayside like the Galactic Star Cruiser. In fact, Star Wars, which he mentions there, was a giant bust compared to the capital expenditure based on the size, scope, and scale of Galaxy's Edge, which should have been modeled on the wildly popular and successful original trilogy or even the prequels, basing it in the new sequels, which dropped in attendance, viewership, interest. Well, that was a loser and has proven a loser for Disney as they continue to shut down their Star Wars related properties at their parks. And even further, the other properties which they tout are so great, have been so fantastic for them, well, they really haven't paid off in scope of their investment. And even if you look at these quote unquote pirate movies, well, they kind of did our boy Johnny Depp a little dirty there, did they not? So there are a lot of things there they felt very, very short of. But this was 10 years before they would know anything about Epic Universe. And now we finally have the worlds being announced for Epic Universe. So let's take a look at those and see how those will be the threat that Disney did not expect.
We went to the fans and we asked them, and the answer was pretty compelling. Give us more of your great storytelling, more of the immersive environments, and do it in the most visceral manner possible.
Isn't that something refreshing? Instead of attacking fans, calling them ists and phobes and all sorts of nasty, hateful words, saying, no, we're going to give them what they want and give them an immersive environment that they actually asked for, rather than we know best. We are the paternal or maternal figures, or I guess we have to say the gender neutral figures that are going to tell you what is best for you. It is just so interesting, so very nice to hear a different take from Universal than Disney would typically give. But let's go on to hear how they break down these worlds.
You'll enter underneath the Chronos, the first portal, where all the planets will align, and exhilarating discoveries await as you begin your journey into Celestial Park.
Celestial Park is a world in and of itself, where fans have come to seek the ultimate adventure.
It's where we put the park back into theme park.
It has beautiful landscaping, incredible water features, amazing dining experiences, fantastic shopping opportunities, and 3 spectacular attractions. Constellation Carousel, a cosmos-inspired carousel unlike anything you've ever seen. Astronomica, where you can play with dancing fountains. And Starfall Racers, a dual-launch coaster where you race through the sky upon a shooting star.
And anchoring this incredible world is the amazing Universal Helios Grand Hotel. 500 rooms integrated into the park like no other theme park in the world.
And from here, you can jump into any world, portal like an adventurer to find all of the worlds you've ever seen.
One of the things that jumps out to me about this first area, Celestial Park, is the roller coaster. Because look, Universal has an advantage over Disney in that it's got some fantastic roller coasters, and that adds a diversity of interest to the rides at its parks. Many of the rides are for children, are for younger folks, junior high, elementary, but there are things that adults want to do as well, and things that mom and dad can do, young couples can do, people can do of all ages. That all ages appeal that, well, Disney doesn't have. And also, considering the market of Disney is actually going from children to adults, it's actually a little bit of a mismatch. Even the Disney adults might find themselves actually wanting to go ride on the roller coaster at Epic rather than wanting to stick it out for a bit of Tiana's Slave Plantation Mountain. So instead of dealing with that, you're going to hop over to Universal. But beyond that, they've got the hotel. And I think the hotel is a huge element. Being able to go directly from a hotel into a theme park is something that Disney is not doing. I know for a limited time, there was that way to get from the Galactic Star Cruiser into Galaxy's Edge directly. However, that's gone. That's shut down. So we no longer have that in a major theme park in Orlando. So I think that's going to be a huge game changer in terms of something that guests will pay a premium for. I think they will pay a premium to be directly connected to the theme park via the hotel.
How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk.
We made the dream a reality. The world's first dragon Viking utopia.
You soar with dragons and have a Viking adventure based on the great movie franchise.
And the ultimate wish fulfillment of flying dragons.
Look, I don't need to say much about How to Train Your Dragon. This is a wildly popular franchise which appeals to a broad range of ages and people. There'll be adults, children, teenagers, young people that are interested in this property. And you don't have to do much. The Viking theme is badass. It's really cool. The aesthetic is going to be great. And listen, as long as that ride, that roller coaster makes you feel like you're flying, which is what roller coasters do, well, this world is absolutely going to soar.
We have this great history with horror. So we thought, is there a way for us to breathe new life into the classic Universal monster family?
It's alive! It's alive!
Dark Universe, a world where Universal's classic monsters are reimagined in an ominous and chilling experience.
Everything you've ever wanted to experience with monsters is in this world.
Dark Universe. This is the generic world. Now, this is one that's more generic in, hey, maybe there's another specific property that gets associated with it in the future. But the real potential I see here for Dark Universe is Halloween Horror Nights. This is a staple for Universal Orlando. This is a huge event. It brings thousands of people in. Therefore, I think making some area that can be a more permanent home for Halloween Horror Nights, where Halloween Horror Nights stuff can be kind of parked in that area. It can safely live year round in that area and stick with theme and thematically be on point. I think that's a bold move. And also it does something Disney has forgotten to do, which is sell stuff other than propaganda. Give merchandise out. You can have swag. You can have stuff going back decades. Think about the ability to sell old Halloween Horror Nights merchandise. For those junkies out there that want to get their Halloween Horror Nights merch, they can get their stuff from the early 2000s, way going back a decade, 2 decades. That's all on the table when it comes to Dark Universe. And I think this is one that can appeal to a broad range of ages as well and can stick around for the longer term.
When the fans told us to give us more of what we did really well, our thinking became, could we create another chapter of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter?
In the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, you'll get to experience moments from both 1920s Paris from Fantastic Beasts and the British Ministry of Magic from the Harry Potter series.
The ride inside of that world, I can't tell you because it has to be a surprise.
You come to Universal Orlando, you're going to get this trilogy of storytelling that is unlike anything else in the world.
Harry Potter is another shoe-in for Universal Studios. It's a layup. And look, they've proven they can do this and keep doing it and doing it well. All of their rides in both Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure are absolutely slam-packed. This is something that generations of people love. Once again, it appeals to people of all ages, young people, older folks that read the books as a kids, and just people who generally like an immersive world. When you step into Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade, you feel like you're there. I have no doubt that you will feel like you are in the Ministry of Magic when you step into this world at Epic Universe. Now, I think they are doing something wise here that Disney failed to do, and that is hedging their bets between the old and the new. They're not going all in on the new stuff like they did with Galaxy's Edge, saying, hey, we're just doing Rey, we're kicking everything else out. No. They're leaving Harry in there with the British Ministry of Magic while also adding in the Fantastic Beasts world. Brilliant move.
We'll have Super Nintendo World, where you can jump into the action and step into the world of Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, and Donkey Kong.
You'll arrive in the most interactive, colorful world we've ever created.
You get to play in the world that you've only played on a screen.
Super Nintendo World is one that actually we have a basis for based on Japan. And if you look at simply what they've done in Japan, which, by the way, the scale and the scope and the size will be much larger at Epic Universe, but if you just look at what they did there, we already have proof of concept. This is amazing. This is going to be amazing. When it comes to America, it is going to sell. We've got such a good opportunity here to build something that goes even beyond the scope and scale of what is in Japan. But if they just take Japan, what's in USJ in Japan, near Osaka, and just transplant that to America, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be amazing. And the Universal money printer will go burr.
Epic Universe represents a tremendous addition, almost doubling the size of Universal Orlando Resort. This gives us the opportunity to bring people to Universal Orlando for an entire week of the most incredible experiences they can imagine.
Now, in the interest of transparency, during the near decade I was in Orlando, the firm that I worked for did represent Universal Studios on the land purchases related to Epic Universe. And in fact, I was personally involved in these, involving the land purchases, entitlements, permitting. So there is something and some stuff I cannot talk about. But what I can say, and I can say with full disclosure and completely public, is that this was a massive effort. Doubling the size of their parks is no joke. It is a huge thing. And to think that they will now be of a scope and scale where they can take a serious swing at Disney and be pound for pound a real contender with Disney rather than just a junior partner is a major change for the Central Florida landscape. And we can bet that when you look at those attendance numbers where we see Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure both gaining on Disney, pulling up towards Disney, passing many of these smaller attendance Disney parks and actually gaining on Magic Kingdom, gaining on the bigger parks, in fact, even passing things like Epcot in certain circumstances. Well, you see these things happening and you say Epic Universe, that's going to kill the Disney attendance records. I think Epic Universe will take the top slot when it opens, when it comes roaring in 2025, certainly in 2026, when we get a whole year of data. I think this is when Disney will start to lose. And the key words here was they were going to intend to have people spend an entire week here, spend a ton of time here. Disney has chosen to make their parks unaffordable. The average person cannot go to Disney anymore. It is now a premium experience. It's a bougie experience, something that the common person can't do. Well, that's not what Universal believes in, and that's not their marketing strategy. They want more people to come. They want people to be able to come to the parks. So they're going to make this more accessible pound for pound than Disney. And I think that's going to pay off in a long run, particularly because this is positioned by iDrive, this is positioned more centrally. So people are going to be able to play nicer with the city of Orlando as a whole, with the actual government, instead of some corrupt Disney government that is Reedy Creek, which now fortunately has been turned into the CFTOD. So I think this is going to be a huge win for Central Florida, a huge win for Universal, and absolutely a black eye for Disney as they see their numbers slide. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Disney is going to still stay on top? Do you believe me that Universal will take that crown? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video. Until next time.